Let's talk about the Ponzi scheme part.
So you talk about something called the Growth Ponzi Scheme. Can you tell me what that is?
Suburbs also became a Growth Ponzi Scheme.
Strong Towns calls this the Growth Ponzi Scheme.
At Strong Towns, we often describe the post-World War II growth development pattern as the Growth Ponzi Scheme. Like any metaphor, the comparison isn't exact, but it's helpful for understanding how financially unsustainable our places have become. At its core, a Ponzi scheme is an investment scheme in which early investors are paid with money put up by later ones. It's fooled people because everyone wants amazing returns. This is why get-rich-quick schemes are everywhere, because they prey on our fear of missing out. Swindlers promise results, but in reality, they're just funneling money from new investors to earlier ones, convincing people that they beat the system, they found the cheat code. That is, until 3. There aren't enough new investors to cover old ones, or someone sees behind the curtain. This model is financially unsustainable. If you're familiar with the idea of the Growth Ponzi Scheme, this will be a less technical and more broad overview, the kind of thing that you can share with someone who hasn't seen it before. So subscribe and let's get into it. The suburban development pattern that's unique to post-World War II North American cities works in a similar way, minus the malicious intent. People rightfully want the American dream that was promised by the first round of suburbs and cemented as the standard of success by following decades. We believed this was not only financially sustainable, but a sign of wealth and future prosperity, not knowing that having near rural density with urban amenities requires extensive infrastructure that costs way more than the city can actually recoup. These are financially unsustainable developments. It was possible to keep this illusion going because each new development gave cities short-term cash, and we all thought the suburbs were the cheat code to the American dream. Eventually though, if a city can't annex more land to continue this downward trajectory, the city will either run out of space to continue these bad investments or run out of money when the first developments cost more to maintain than they can afford. Okay, that's fair, so why don't we raise taxes for the city to cover the maintenance of that infrastructure? Because it doesn't even come close. Also, most people won't agree to that, so it's politically infeasible. Why don't we just balance the budget by lowering expenses? That doesn't change the growth pattern. You can cut the police, the fire department, and only fund infrastructure and running elections, and your city will still be losing money. Michel Duran-Wood did the math for his city, Winnipeg. Based on a 25-year replacement cycle, which is used by most developers for cost-benefit analyses, they would have needed $680 million per year to replace the road networks. To put that in perspective, Winnipeg only took in $658.7 million in property taxes in 2021. Hold up. Are you saying that I'm morally responsible for my town's downfall because I live in a suburban development? Of course not. We don't have many options nowadays, and we went by what we were told would make us wealthy. Our cities don't have malicious intent, but now that we know that the math isn't adding up, at least don't stand in the way of your city trying to become more financially resilient when they try to build a variety of housing options and when they focus on the unexciting but profitable infill of productive downtowns. Those things subsidize the suburbs. When Mr. Beast gives away a private jet to a fan, this fan has a choice. Keep the jet and go bankrupt trying to pay for its taxes, storage, and maintenance, or do what most people would do: sell it. Without the ability to pay for all of the things that are associated with a private jet, it's more of a liability than anything. Our new suburban development pattern and the free infrastructure that often comes with it is like that free jet. It provides that initial illusion of wealth, but if we can't pay for it, then it causes more issues than it's worth. Every time we build or are gifted infrastructure, it comes with a promise to maintain it. Cities are reaching the point of being unable to make good on that promise. The federal government isn't like a family or business. They can print money. They have the power of coercion. Cities are different. They should aspire to have the finances to provide more and more value for people living there. And we don't get this by continuing our Ponzi scheme-esque development pattern. We do this by building places that we can actually maintain. This means making a huge mental shift. That new low-density development on the edge of town with all the shiny new infrastructure is a drain on your city, not an asset. The historical mixed-use business district of your town, the one that may or may not be legal to build anymore, that's more likely to contribute to your town being a better place. The scary duplex or townhomes that everyone is afraid will ruin the character of their neighborhood. It might be the only parcel in the neighborhood that actually gives more than it takes. It also might be the only way for a young middle-class family to afford their first home nowadays. Not Just Bike summarized our work with Urban 3 when we helped show Lafayette, Louisiana, which is very likely similar to your town, that their development model would drive them to financial ruin, and that if they wanted to become a desirable and prosperous place in the future, they needed to start investing in the places that can actually afford their services. Hey, no need to fret though. You know I'm not just gonna toss you some doom without some kind of action. Let's start with some basic principles, some stuff to help frame what the next steps are. First, when you're in the hole, you need to stop digging. Stop focusing on these huge risks and 1, humbly observe where people in the community struggle. 2, ask the question, what's the next smallest thing that we can do right now to address that struggle? 3, do that thing right now. 4, repeat this process. This is the Strong Towns approach. Second, we have to commit to maintaining the stuff we already have. The whole system is good at growing, but not maintaining. We have normalized making everything disposable. New constructions can be extremely shoddy. Many big box stores are designed to only last 15 years. We've gotten really good at growth. It's time to get good at maintaining what makes us money. It's easy to imagine the value created when we see new buildings go up, even if that value is just imaginary. It's hard to see the value in repairing pipes, so that value creation needs to happen at the maintenance level. We do maintenance and we plant trees. We resurface the road and we add bike lanes. We do maintenance anyway, but we make the neighborhood more valuable. Last, we need to make use of existing investments. So your city is committed to taking care of its neighborhoods. It's making incremental changes, which make the normally boring maintenance more exciting. Now, a strong town will become more productive, focusing on building within city limits and encouraging financially responsible development by scaling back red tape and making the beloved historical downtown legal to build again. At this point, a strong town's local elected body knows that they have to do the math on new development before approving giant subdivisions. People have caught on that these shiny new subdivisions can't exist without a productive core. Your roads are going to fail. Your pipes will need repairs. It's in your best interest to advocate for better development in your towns so that they'll have the coffers to cover those impending costs. So instead of cutting essential services, your town is now adding amenities and taking care of them, making it a great place. So where do you start? Go talk to your neighbor, get to know them, build that relational capital. This is good and healthy. Don't let your neighbors just see you as an NPC. Don't miss this. Meaningful change requires a strong community. You don't need to agree on politics to agree that you want a strong town. This grassroots movement means that we're gonna have to have hard conversations with the people most affected, our neighbors. Top-down approaches are organized, but often dumb and wasteful. Our neighbors and neighborhoods are living things. They aren't easy. They're messy. For some reason, duplexes and townhomes feel really scary to some people. Convincing someone otherwise isn't going to happen from sending them a YouTube video or virtue signaling them into changing their minds. We have to be spokespeople for stronger towns. The messiness of community is where we experiment with small bets and we figure out what works together. When one of those small bets fails, you're going to need trust within your community to keep trying new things. If you're out or leaving your house after this video, I'll leave you with this challenge. Tell a person at the grocery store that you like their style. Don't be weird though. Compliment a neighbor's landscaping or shovel their driveway. Wave hi when pulling into or leaving your house, or at the very least, just figure out the name of that neighbor that you totally forgot. This isn't a problem that can be solved from a top-down approach or digitally. It needs to start with you.